Good evening, afternoon, whatever the heck it is for you, wherever you are. We're at Frag Force. This is our global meeting for October on the 28th, since we postponed it for a week due to us having a super stream last week. One of the things that should be on next time that isn't on next time because I forgot to add it, we had a super stream last week. It actually went fairly well. There was definitely some technical issues, which we will go over in our retro meeting, which will be next week, not this weekend, because it's Halloween this weekend.
Yeah, I forgot Halloween exists, okay? The holidays and dates don't exist anymore to me.
We already know you're immune to calendar invites.
It's not that. It's just that time is but a concept of which other people try to hold me to.
It's one way of looking at it.
You and this mysterious outside, Ham. I don't think any of us know what you're talking about.
Let me pull this again real fast because it's nice to have actual data.
It's what, 3308, if I remember now correctly? I was wrong last time.
I'll tell you once it finishes paging through. We had a total of 78 donations. Totaling...
No, it's free to... It's free to play, Paulson. It's just pay to win.
$3,158.49.
Okay.
Plus a rounding error in Python.
Okay.
Let me just put my cursor back in the parking lot. It's in the parking lot now. I was just writing down the total because I had it in front of me. But, I mean, that was the big thing last week. Well, obviously we haven't had a retro yet, but it did go fairly well. We definitely had some technical issues. We do plan to rebuild our entire stack before the next event, partially because of those issues and partially because we want to get it on our better hardware anyways. It's trippy seeing the things I'm saying appear in front of me. Sorry, that distracted me.
I also want to call out, do we know if the new HPs are in place yet at the tower? I know Scarecrow's been busy, delay. Well, no, the HPs. Not the ones that Paulson got or is shipping there, but the other ones. Because we got HPs from the server team from work. We need cables for them. Okay, so they're there, I assume, and the ones you shipped aren't.
Cables. Okay, we're apparently short cables. Maybe.
I would like to
confirm on that and get back to things on that.
Yeah, we need Scarecrow to comment, but that can be for later. Need to ask DCN for cables. Okay, but yeah, we should double check with Gordon about that just to be sure. I understand.
Before I forget about it, if you do want to speak up about something, please raise your hand and mention it in the Frag Force Types channel because you can't look at both of them at the same time.
If you pay attention to types, I will pay attention to requests. The technical issues is we're talking about moving the stream setup from Paulson's mom's basement to the tower. which may relieve us of some of the technical issues because we'll be doing a complete rebuild of the whole setup.
On good, fresh hardware.
Yeah.
This next point on the document, I'm assuming that was somebody who would like to speak about that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'm assuming. I haven't actually seen it. I do see someone who raised their hand. We'll invite Mark Cross to speak. We'll see if Discord ever actually tells him that he's been invited, that is.
Hello. Is it working?
It's working, but quiet.
Better?
Significantly.
Ah, okay. Eat the mic. Eat the mic. Okay. So, Discord stages, I wanted to propose us talking about that and see if there was another solution. There've been a lot of troubles with Discord stages. They are generally restrictive, and I get that that's by design, but it may be that they are too restrictive. It's difficult for people to engage. It makes it not into a meeting. It makes it into a couple of people talking and other people occasionally getting to pipe in. And that's by design. That's what stages were designed for. They're designed to be more like, going to a con and seeing someone present. They're not designed for equal opportunity, people getting to speak. Now, I know we've had trouble in the past with people talking over each other, but this is not like this is one method, but it kind of creates the same kind of restrictions, because instead of now people just being talked over and not getting a chance to speak, they just don't get a chance to speak. It's intimidating for some people to have to raise their hand, have to go through all the motions, click the accept, wait for the technical issues from Discord to be like, did it even go through or not? We have issues with recording. It doesn't record as well as other tools we've had. It makes recordings more difficult to navigate. It seems overly restrictive, and I know it's frustrating myself and other people, and wanted to propose that we could at least explore other options again. I know we moved off of Google Meet. When we said we're moving off of Google Meet, it was going to be, okay, well, we'll try this and see what happens. We've tried it. I'm personally not a fan. I know other people are not, so I wanted to open that discussion.
Your hand is not currently up, Eve, but I can do this anyways. Paulson, I think you're going to need to be more specific about radio protocol for those of us who don't know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll take that as a yes. I couldn't even tell. It didn't even put an icon next to my name or anything like that. So this was actually something that I added to the list of things to talk about because this is increasingly becoming an issue. And not only because of the fact that stages aren't really meant to be utilized in this manner, it's because of the fact that we also are not like doing any like really good scheduling. Like we have this one particular meeting that we set like every single month. So yes, we have that on our calendar. But what about everything else? It leaves other people to go ahead and structure their own meetings and that sort of thing. And that's not a good idea because of the fact that it's just all over the place. People aren't going to get things done. They're not going to accept these other meetings. They're not going to do these other things. So, and also the truth of the matter is the majority of people that are actually in this particular team work Monday through Friday and also for Salesforce. So like, while we don't want to be exclusionary, there has to be an understanding that the people who are attending and the number of them should override meeting scheduling options. So weekday versus weekend. If we only have like 3 people that's accommodating, then we should really kind of think about the fact that maybe they can listen to the recording.
I understand your points. My counterpoint to that is that I've had multiple people reach out to me directly that having these meetings during the weekday is extremely hostile to anyone who's not a Salesforce employee. And that is incredibly exclusionary if we're trying to reach out to
In what
other
way
people.
is it hostile?
People have jobs.
How many people are in attendance that are actually here?
Well, unfortunately, they wouldn't be here to speak now because it's weekday job time, to be fair.
They can't attend the meetings.
It is, but we also have to take into regard the fact that, yeah, okay, it's Monday through Friday, but even without Salesforce, let's not even take Salesforce into account. The majority of us work Monday through Friday. That's it. Period. We could like, honestly, this would apply even if went ahead and removed Salesforce part here.
Okay, since it's come up from multiple of you, I need Cookie or Paulson to actually tell us what they mean, so that's in the recording for what they mean by radio protocol or incident bridge meetings or protocol. From what I'm reading, it just means everyone has to request permission to speak.
So during an incident commander runs a bridge. That incident commander should be the one person maintaining the thought process for the whole thing. To clarify, like the person who's directing flights that are landing at an airport. But when that person, again, sorry, trying to maintain the single thought of line of consciousness for everybody, and somebody says, "Do I have permission to speak?" That person says yes, go ahead. That person then moves forward. If anybody else tries to pipe that up, that person is supposed to immediately shut down anything else until that person is done, and then you hand it over to the next person. But you should be on mute other than that.
I think that's generally problematic, though. Like, I understand the concept.
Yeah.
But the idea of having to ask permission to speak every single time carries with it a lot of baggage and weight. Not to mention the fact that some of us, including myself, have a tendency to ramble. So if we let everybody speak everything, then nobody will get anything accomplished.
Part of that incident commander's bridge, part of the IC's task is to also keep that person on topic and not ramble. And I know and this is purely because it's an incident strategy. It is a little combative because of that. And I understand that. So it's not always a good thing, but it's not always a bad thing either, because it keeps the topic straight up and hopefully maintains at least some sort of conversation between people.
We're not a military, though.
I know, and I understand that. It's not. So for a meeting, I don't think it's a good idea, but for incidents, that's probably the better idea. But it's like the talking stick, though. It's one person has the stick, gets handed off to the next person. Nobody talks until the stick gets handed off. It's like that.
And that's a good distinction to make. It's an incident implies like something's going wrong. It implies
Right,
conflict.
which,
A
yes,
meeting is not necessarily that.
right.
Yeah.
On an incident bridge, the timeliness of information being passed is vitally important.
Right. So I think I know it's not director, but the person who manages flights coming in and out of the airport. Every person coming in trying to talk is a different thing to manage. I think those air traffic control. Thank you for that, Macrophage. So an IC is not an air traffic controller so much as an air traffic controller is trying to make everybody work together. An IC is trying to get information and only what they need, nothing more. So if we do, yeah, the control person is directing. I think we've been okay with the text chat that's running though right now.
I'm still getting into the flow of
1 second.
paying attention
Macrophage
to the chat,
yeah.
and
Macrophage
also to
was
the hands
requesting to
raised.
speak. So 1 second.
Yeah.
We really need somebody to, and this would be the person that's the air traffic controller for talking, while we have a moderator watching chat. I've invited you in, Duncan, by the way. You should see an invite pop up soon.
There you go.
Boy, yeah, that's terrible. I got a desktop notification about 30 seconds before the actual app let me click. Yeah, I just wanted to echo what was going on in the types channel, just so we had on the recording, is that like I think a lot of us feel that the stage is a bit of an overcorrection to the talking over each other. And I think the incident seems like it would work very effectively, but it's a bit harsh for what we are and what we're like, the seriousness of these meetings. It seems like it would be better if we just went back to some sort of open forum meeting like Google Meet or a Discord call, and just were better about respecting each other's time to talk and not droning on and making these meetings just a bit more structured.
I'm not opposed to it. It definitely was a I'm getting multiple complaints on the side. I need to change something, sort of change.
Totally.
May I speak?
Go for
it. Ben would like to talk, but on that, do we want to perhaps set a timer for people? Like, I understand that may not be a good idea, but it gives them that open floor, you have 2 minutes kind of thing. Make your piece, try and be concise. That might help cut off some of the rambling that Mark was talking about. And I'm going to mute.
If I may, if I may.
Just real fast, Ben. I was going to say, Ben would like to speak next, then Eve would like to speak after Ben, so everyone knows what's going on. Please start, Ben.
Yes. If I may, I think that part of our concern here is that we're talking about rigid structures when these meetings are generally very flowy. I think that probably the best compromise we could do in this case is I think returning to the open forum seems to make sense. But what we need to do is we need to have a leadership structure in terms of the meeting itself, someone whose job it is to, tell people, hey, okay, calm down, hey, you're rambling, maybe keep it a little shorter, stuff like that. Someone whose job, like to let everybody do what they want to do, but then at the same time understand that there's a person whose job it is to maintain a semblance of control, letting them be the equitable person and the one who says, okay, you're talking too much, that sort of thing.
Cool. Eve, real fast before you go, I want to mention that there's some chatter going on in the text chat that I'd like to cover after Eve's portion.
Yeah, so let's get to the actual source of the problem. The source is that women don't feel like they're heard in this particular team. That's the source of the problem. So let's not try to militarize it. How about we try to fix the problem of interruption in that respect, and then also towards each other regardless of gender? Because that's the problem. So it's I feel like it's overkill to look at this kind of thing and be like, okay, we're going to rotate the moderator, we're going to be doing these other different kinds of things. You know, I mean, when are we? I mean, there's a point where you get to the point where people just don't want to do it. The thing is like going to these meetings, like if I eventually, you know, like have to raise my hand every single time I want to speak and all these other different kinds of things, and I actually do want to lead and impact things, you know, it's like work every single time that I have to like organize exactly what I want to say. And that's not how this particular organization ever has been. So let's look at the actual real problem, which is interruption. Well, stop. And we had an exact example of that when Ben came up to the stage to talk. How about we respect each other as people and be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It started with women, but it also did extend to like the overall group as a whole too. I mean, I know everyone is super intelligent and I love you all and you have wonderful things to say. I don't want you to feel like you can't say those things or you have to have like a wall in front of yourself in order to be able to express yourself.
There's a difference between a wall and, you know, just kind of being like, oh, sorry, my bad, keep going.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's the end of what I had to say.
Cool. And then the chatter going on in Fire Force Types was talking about having someone being as a moderator type position. Me noticing that I'm rather conflict averse, so I don't feel comfortable stopping people from rambling. That's definitely something that we'll need to figure out a way to do it that doesn't sound mean. That's just my side of things. And I'm perfectly fine if someone else needs to be a moderator if that's what we're talking about. But if it's more just making sure people are aware when they're interrupting, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think it could be good as like a training because it is difficult for people to change behaviors, especially when they're very ingrained. And something having, even if it's just something very non-conflict, like I don't know how we could possibly do this, but some way to make a noise, like a boop noise, whenever that's obvious, that stands out. Nobody has to say anything; they just have to say boop or make the boop noise, and that lets people know, oh, hey, I just spoke over somebody. And using that as like a I hate to say Pavlovian because that has kind of negative connotations to it, but kind of developing that reflex to, oh, I got booped. I shouldn't do that. Then you learn that behavior over time.
The counterpoint to that is, please no noises, we're not dogs. From Cookie.
It's just a thought off the top of my head. Maybe there's other ideas.
I mean, I could always, sorry.
It's just something that's easy for people who are averse to conflict that they could do, right?
I was going to say, I have a button.
Right.
It's not a good button, though.
Self-control is good, and we should have it, but it takes time to develop. And it sometimes needs help to develop.
I think the general consensus, and please do let me know if I'm not getting this correctly, is that for our next meeting we should try not using a stage and using a normal call. One of the other benefits for this that we didn't actually cover is in a normal call, I can share my screen.
Yes. Do we want to do Discord still or go back to Google Meet? We have various people in the chat who are asking about Google Meet. I know the issue we have. Oh, go ahead.
The biggest issue with Google Meet is that it's very difficult for us to get the invitations for the people who aren't already on our mailing lists or aren't FSF employees into Google Meet. That was one of the biggest reasons why we moved to Discord, is because everyone who's in FragForce has access to this Discord server.
Paulson
without having to jump through any hoops.
Yeah. Paulson points out, what about the new FragForce G apps? Like, is that something that we now have better control over getting things out because it's not on the Salesforce Google account?
If it's a standing meeting, I think we can have a static link. As long as it's, because the thing with this meeting, this particular meeting, is because it's attached to a calendar invite, it would get a new Google Meet link every single month, which made it impossible to invite people easily.
Mm-hmm. So can someone take that as an action item to
as
set
an
that
action
up and test
item? Paulson and I will work with, or Paulson will work with his, see if we can get it working, and then I'll work with him to migrate it to the fragforce.org GApps account.
Awesome, thank you. I know this was a difficult topic for a lot of people, and so I do appreciate everybody being honest and facing, a difficult subject.
Setting a timer for 4 hours to remind Paulson. Done.
I'm gonna see if I can get this to actually collapse. If it has that feature.
I don't think it does, but that'd be really cool if it did. I'm assuming you mean like collapsing the action items to stuff that to hide it or make it smaller that you can expand it later.
Yeah.
I don't believe that is a feature.
I think Quip has it, which is lame. Okay. I am going to change the header here, and I'm going to actually just move this down the page.
Yeah, move it down to
So then,
below this month, since it's for past stuff now.
Yeah. How long is this page?
Very.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Moving on to the agenda.
This up?
There's nothing else actually added to the agenda that I saw, unless I missed something. Superstream, meetings, scheduling, and resolution. There's nothing else on the agenda that I can see. Please let me know if I missed something. Or if you have something else
Yes, I
to add to
know.
the
I
agenda.
actually kind of like Quip too, but
the sharing problem was also that. What's nice about this being in our new GApps account is I can actually create a link to share with the world. They locked that down. You literally cannot create a link to be global view on Quip, or on SF's Quip, that is.
yeah, Quip is really difficult to share, I've noticed. I've tried to do that with customers, and it is not a good time.
I did it with my own Gmail account, and it was a pain. I was on both ends of it.
Okay, so wow, that's really big.
In FragForce types, or raise your hand, does anybody else have anything else that they would like to be covered at this meeting? I see Macrophage says hand up, so let me right click, invite to speak.
One eternity later.
Hey, so one thing I would like, and I'm volunteering to help out with, but would need some feedback from you, is we talk about we want to be better at publicity. And I think the results of our super stream are something we should definitely be publicizing and talking about. And so I wanted to get some feedback on what sort of stats we want to compile into like some talking points, like obviously how much we raised. And then we have the stats page, which has like average viewers or number of donations, stream time. I just want to know if we can get like a consensus of like a bunch of stats I can compile, or people can help me compile, and then we can all have that to talk about with our org, with our friends, on our weekly stream slots, stuff like that.
No, that's actually a brilliant idea. Just some spitballs right here. Number of donations, total number. I guess if you wanted to, average donation, number of unique streamers, because we have that information.
Well, let's slow down, Avon. These are great ideas. Let's do them one at a time so we get them on paper and don't lose them.
Let me know when you're actually ready, Eve, because I don't want to swarm you too.
What are we gonna call it? I guess just announcements about
stream stats,
super stream stats for
publicity.
Yeah, something like that. Just event stats for publicity is probably the simplest way to put it.
I'm just gonna put event publicity posts. Okay.
Number of
Go
donations.
ahead, give me your list.
Number of donations, total money. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Like number of donations, sum of donations, how much we raised. Hours streamed. I mean, it's static, but it's still impressive. Especially when you do like donations per hour, that kind of thing. Just, call out the total number of people doing this. ETO hours is actually a good point to call out, at least internally.
Number of participants and number of unique viewers.
Oh yeah, that's a thing I can pull. And then
hours watched is a good stat too. It's just an impressive, sort of meaningless stat, but you just take unique viewers times stream time or whatever hours watched, and
Twitch actually gives you that data, that number exactly.
Perfect. And Avon, you have access to the stream dashboard, right? So all of these should be pretty easy to pull up.
Off of the dashboard or off of my Python script from the Extra Life API, although I keep forgetting I'm not querying Tiltify. Go, Parker.
Paulson would like to suggest we shelf the topic and write down exactly what we want offline.
We have the basic ones. We have the basic ones already on this list.
Right.
We can come up with ones, donations per hour, that sort of thing, based off of the data we have once we have it. Action item for me to pull data that I can.
Okay. If you want me to be honest, and this is just my observation from, other posts about successful events and that sort of thing, usually they want, number of donations, sum of donations, who participated or how many participants were there, how many hours of volunteer work was there. Like what is it going to be like? And also we may want to consider exactly like how we want to go ahead and handle the donation announcement, because we get matching. So that might be something we want to take into consideration for timing.
No, that's totally fair. I will work on pulling as much data as I can for you by close of business today, Duncan.
Okay.
Does anybody want to help work on turning this data into some pretty things that we can share? That's one of the things I am very bad at. This actually probably is a good use for Discord threads, now that I think about it. So, I will quickly create a thread for this. I'm just going to steal your title, Eve. It's going to be event publicity posts.
I'll go ahead and add this as a list once you've done that. I did also want to say that I have worked with the Slack blocks and that sort of thing. So I would be happy to do this if that's the format that people want, but I know that someone else wanted to go ahead and take that over. So
okay, we have that thread started. I got the first couple data points in there. Paulson is going to be working on getting into the org so that we can do reporting on it later as well. Duncan, thank you again for the idea. This is actually a really good idea and something that we have not done well at with past events.
it was something I wanted to do as well, too. So thank you for verbalizing that.
Does anybody else have anything else that they would like to cover in this meeting? I'd say speak now or forever hold your peace, but that's not necessarily true. I would like you to raise your hand and or type in Fragforce types if you have anything else you'd like to cover, because I'd like to share it with everyone. Parker, a question for you from type is, when are we having the retro?
It's gonna give me a second on that one. I asked in there specifically to see what the Streamweavers had to say, but do we want to do after Halloween, so next week, probably after work hours at some point. I will drop a link to the schedule. Here's all our available time things and see what we get.
And this is a call for help from everyone out there. If you guys know of any tools that we can use to make meeting scheduling fairer, better, more sane, that we can use and integrate, I would love to hear your ideas and tools that you've heard of or used so that we can get the most people we can into meetings and actually available. The thing about that, Mark, is I'm sure there's something out there. I don't know it. And I'm asking if anybody knows anything they can find. So this is a call for action.
I hate to say this, but Zoom actually integrates Google Calendar and you can send out invites.
Not sorry, this isn't just for sending invites, this is for finding the best time to have the meeting. Trying to get people involved, sorry.
So I guess my problem with it is that the feedback is always going to be that it's the wrong time from someone. So we have to just decide on whatever meeting we're going to have and when it's going to happen.
Oh, I totally agree.
We can't. I mean, otherwise it just doesn't get anywhere.
Sorry.
Right.
I'm looking for a tool to get the data on what time is the best time where the most people are available. Bad phrasing on my part. Right now, I don't have an easy way of getting the data of when is everyone available, hour by hour for a week or whatever, to find that best time. We have some suggestions for Doodle, so I will look into that. We also have some snarky comments about Chinese Intel programs. Yeah, I just need a generic something to find the data about what times people are available and find the time with the most overlap.
Yeah, Google Form would probably be the best.
If you can find a good way to do that, Ben, and spit it out, please do so, and we will play with it. This would also be for the SuperStream planning, because a lot of our people volunteering for SuperStream stuff. We actually have quite a few people who are not SF employees that I do want to make sure are still involved. I'm very curious if you can pull it off as well, Mark, because Google Forms, while powerful, is also painful. And yes, we all have opinions about times and everything. That's not what I want to get into. It's just I want a tool for getting me better data to make meetings better.
I think that a Google form would be the most accessible in the context of information and the structure that we have currently for all of our documentation.
We'll see what Ben whips up and see how it looks. And Paulson, if you can find tooling to integrate it so that we can do it in the org, I'm all for it. But
if we could incorporate it into the app. We could incorporate it into the app, but we're just not there yet. So let's go ahead and figure out like something in the interim, because we still have to have these meetings.
Yeah, let's get our MVP workable solution and then design a better solution.
Because that was actually a deep pain point for this event.
We have a Salesforce org for Fragforce, Patricio. That's what we were talking about. Getting a lot of good feedback about things. We have some ideas for tools and stuff. Ben is going to try whipping something together, and we're going to see how it looks and how it works. I'm also going to look into Doodle, because someone kept saying it over and over and over again, so I'm going to at least look at it. Do something, anything. Okay, that can be chiseled on our tombstone.
Well, you could put that on my tombstone, because I was doing that all weekend. Saying that to people.
Eve, can you send Patricio the link to sign up for an org account? Because he would like to help with some QA stuff.
Yeah, I actually don't know how to, how Cookie is wanting to do that. Because I made the form and everything like that, but I haven't really gotten any feedback.
I mean, getting the signups is good for now, and then we can work with Cookie to actually get people signed up. But I mean, if we don't know, if we don't have a way for them to tell us they're interested, we're dead in the water.
It's actually already made, and let me go grab it.
Other than that, if anybody else has anything else they'd like to cover, please do let me know soon, or I'll be closing out this meeting in a couple minutes, because we're almost at the hour point already.
Yeah, I had a question. Just something that occurred to me while I was going through these links here. Does anyone have any ideas for other companies to utilize for swag, like that we could get like tied to fundraiser functionality? Because it's always painful.
That's actually a good question. I haven't heard of any myself, but that's a good thing. So if anybody knows of any companies who can make swag where the proceeds are actually donated, we don't want to touch the money. That's the key point that a lot of them don't do. And we would love to hear about them. Because Extra Life doesn't actually sell any swag. Yeah, the biggest point is that we want to raise funds, and we don't want to touch the funds ourselves. Oh, that's a good point, Paulson. Add an action item for Parker and I to reach out to Extra Life, or even just can someone ask in the channel we have with Betsy and Hank, because they might actually know people.
So we would be looking for like just t-shirts, sweaters, something really basic.
Okay, I've asked.
Okay.
So I've reached out. We will see what the response is.
And Ben, if you do not send out that Google form for the scheduling, I will haunt you in your dreams. And you will never be rid of me until you get it done.
Yes.
Yes, I know I could haunt him anyway. I just, it's more threatening when I say
Thank
it.
you for looking into the things, Patricio and Defensive Lettuce. Please let us know what you hear about anything. And with that, I think we're good to call this meeting completed for now. Unless anybody else has anything they want to reach out about really fast. I'm going to give you a minute. But we do have some action items. Thank you for adding those to the top of the doc, Eve. If you've been here this whole time and you're confused as to what we're actually talking about, see the global agenda thread link that Eve put in the Frag Force Types chat. That document should be available for everyone to see.
Popped it into the Global Council agenda area, so then it would be along with all the official documentation or whatever. Or information, rather.
Okay, since nobody is raising their hand or speaking up about it in Frag Force Types, I'm going to say thank you all for your time. We have some action items we'll be working on, and please, if you do come back with any information that we asked about, just put it in. That's probably a good point. Where should we have them tell us information? If
Wait, what?
so the people who are reaching out to things that aren't part of the council, how are they going to get us the information back to us? That's something I just thought of just now.
Do we have like a way to create like a Frag Force inbox?
In theory, yes. We have some, but they're earmarked for things like accounts.
Got it. I just didn't know if we wanted to go ahead and have like a specific one for just the organization itself that maybe would automate into like tickets or something like that in the org.
As Mark's pointed out, probably the easiest thing, mention myself, Parker, and Eve, and it'll get to the right place, at least for now. And then action item, we should probably figure out a way for people to give us feedback and all we like that. I don't have a good right now answer for that question.
I mean, we could always do something with the website.
Yeah. We'll look into that and then get back to you guys. But for right now, just send it on Discord in general or Frag Force types and ping people. So that's our today's solution. It's not our final solution, but it's our today's solution. It's not curated very well and has a bunch of people who probably need to be on that aren't in it. I'm certain that there's people that should be on that distro that aren't on that distro, Patricio. It has not been curated well. I'm sure of that.
I don't like email distros. You don't have any visibility, really, as much. They feel like something out of the 90s.
No, I agree. We need a good way of people reaching out to us. I mean, obviously, they can't always use Discord. That does work. And to be fair, it might even be the 80s. Email has been around for quite a while.
Might be. Yeah, yeah. 80s would be about right. 70s is too far.
Anyways, that is all of us rat holing right now. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Have a good day, everyone.
Yep.